Good morning and welcome to Shatliff on Sunday. It is Sunday, November 6, 2022, and welcome to our programme today. We'll be taking a look at some religious reflection. We'll also take a look at the main news stories affecting us around the UK and around the world this Sunday morning. I'll be telling you about a book that I'm going to be reading soon, P.D. James' The Black Tower, even though I've read it before. And we'll be discussing some of the big stories happening around the world. So please stay with me over the next 15 minutes before then heading to Sunday Mass from St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church in Chelsea, which I watch weekly. On the programme today, we'll just take a look at the news stories first of all. The Shadow Minister calls for urgent independent investigation in regards to Gavin Williamson, which they are saying is not in the public interest. Ed Miliband has called for an urgent independent investigation into Sir Gavin Williams' reappointment after it was alleged that the cabinet minister sent abusive text messages to former Chief Whip Wendy Morton, complaining that he and other colleagues had been excluded from the Queen's funeral for political reasons. We are aware as well that another senior Conservative has said that the Prime Minister does have confidence in Gavin Williamson. So that's two people that the current Prime Minister has confidence in. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, and now Gavin Williamson. We're still 12 days into the new premiership, but it's 12 days if you count in like calendar weeks since Rishi Sunak became the Prime Minister. Already two people are under scrutiny. Music stars are paying tribute to the singer Aaron Carter, who has died. Aaron was aged just 34 years of age. Thoughts are with the family. And I'm going to finish on something nice and positive, which has come from something very sad, of course. We're all devastated by the death of Her Majesty the Queen back on September the 8th. It's almost 2 months since Her Majesty passed away. We will be getting an extra additional bank holiday, which will take place on Monday, May 8th, which also coincides with VE Day. His Majesty King Charles III, his coronation will take place on Saturday, May 6th. So that means that there'll be additional bank holidays to be one on Monday, May 1st, as well as Monday, May the 8th, and then of course there'll also be one at the end of May. So let's hope that there is some nice, beautiful weather for everybody to join in all of these celebrations, and hopefully things will be better for people by that stage as well. The Pharisees and the Sadducees were both attracted and repelled by Jesus, and they couldn't stop trying to catch him out. The aristocratic Sadducees scorned the Middle class Pharisees, and their modern interpretation of the law. They had a narrow world view and were true conservatives, accepting only the first 5 books of the Hebrew Scriptures, the Pentateuch, and rejecting any belief in the resurrection of the body or any existence after death. Until the liberated law, if a Jewish man's brother died childless, the man was supposed to marry the widow and provide an heir so that the estate wouldn't leave the family and the brother's name would continue. The Sadducees, who were too clever by half, posted a scenario which they didn't even believe would ever occur, hoping to force Jesus to renounce the resurrection or allow polyandry, a woman having more than one husband. Jesus pointed out that the resurrection, life, and our current earthly existence are not to be compared. In heaven, the relationship of a married couple will be transcended by an entirely new kind of relationship. As Christians, we don't simply believe that after death we live or on in some way. What we do believe is that on the last day our bodies will be raised incorruptible. This is our blessed hope and the very essence of what it means to believe in the resurrection. I never disagree with that specific part. I do believe we live on after death and when we go into the kingdom of heaven. Obviously, there will be the resurrection as well, but I do believe that that moment we take our last breath, we go into heaven, and we live in heaven. As Paul said, God raised the Lord and will also raise us by his power. Of course, this is a mystery, but one which through faith we can enter into and take hold of in a way which can transform our lives. St. Clement of Rome says the sort of truth of the resurrection built into nature's cycle. Day and night give us examples of resurrection. The night sinks to sleep, the day rises, the day departs, the night comes in. His namesake in Alexandria said of Christ, he has turned all our sunsets into dawn. That's a nice way to end that specific thought there. P.D. James died in 2014. She was born in 1920. She was aged 94 years of age. I first heard of P.D. James back in 1984, which was like 30 years before her death. And that was when I saw one of her dramatisations on the television, Shroud for a Nightingale, starring the absolutely fantastic Roy Marsden as Adam Dalgleish. It was a great, eerie mystery series. The following year, there was another P.D. James mystery, which was called Cover Her Face, which was actually the first Adam Dalgleish mystery that was shown on ITV. And then just a few months later, in the autumn of 1985, The Black Tower was shown on Friday evening as well. I was a bit older then, and I was able to watch this mystery and really enjoy it, even though it was kind of gruesome certain things. And then it took a break for a few years and then came back in 1988 with A Taste for Death. I've read all of these books, and I've read some of the other books that Dame P.D. James wrote as well. In fact, there's just one which I need to finish reading, which is The Skull Beneath the Skin, and also a couple of short stories. But I believe there's also the Mole and the Pear Tree, a non-fiction one. Dame P.D. James, an absolutely fantastic writer. Let me just read you the what they actually put at the front of this book, just for anyone that doesn't really know very much about the late great author. P.D. James was born in Oxford in 1920 and educated at Cambridge High School for girls. And from 1949 to 1968, she worked in the National Health Service and subsequently in the Home Office, first in the Police Department and later in the Criminal Policy Department. All these sound really interesting. All her experience has been used in her novels. She was a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature and of the Royal Society of Art, and served as a governor of the BBC. A member of the Arts Council, where she was chairman of the Literary Advisory Panel. She was on the board of the British Council and a magistrate in Middlesex and London. She won awards for crime writing in Britain, America, Italy, and Scandinavia, including the Mystery Writers of America Grandmaster Award. And she received honorary degrees from 7 British universities, was awarded an ABE in 1983, and was created a life peer in 1991. In 1997, she was elected president of the Society of Authors. Descended there by St. Church in London and Oxford, and has 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. An absolutely remarkable author. As I said, I've read this book before. It's about Commander Dalgleish. He's recuperating from a life-threatening illness when he receives a call for advice from an elderly friend who works as a chaplain in the home for the disabled on the Dorset coast. Now, police arrives to discover that Father Baddeley has recently and mysteriously died, as has one of the patients at Taunton Grange. Evidently, the home is not quite the caring community it purports to be. Now, police is determined to discover the truth of his friend's death, but further fatalities follow, and his own life is in danger as he unmasks the evil at the heart of Taunton Grange. Excited to think about this book. Absolutely fantastic. I've had this book for a few years. I've read it once in 2007. Read it again before the year is out. Challenge to get this read before the year is out. A week ago last Wednesday, I put a message on the Facebook page of our local MP, Christian Wakeford, and said he is welcome to come onto Ben Shatliff on Sunday to have a conversation to discuss politics and a whole variety of different things. Well, I am still waiting for a response from our local MP. He and anybody else is welcome to come on to Ben Shatliff on Sunday. It doesn't have to be here on location. Here when I normally film. I will take the laptop to you as long as we have a broadband, as long as we have Wi-Fi, so we can connect and we can do an interview and discuss what is going on. So please do not be afraid. You don't have to come to me. I will come to you. But please come on. We can have a discussion on politics, what's happening across Bury South constituency, what's happening across the United Kingdom, and we can do it in a dignified way. So you are most welcome, Christian. Please come on to the programme, and anybody else for that matter. On Tuesday in America, it is the primary elections, the midterms, the crucial ones, where they see whether or not the Democrats are doing well, whether or not the Republicans are doing well. And of course, we are fully aware that there is one man who is waiting with bated breath to announce his political comeback. Yes, we all know exactly who it is, a certain Mr. Donald Trump. Now, I will give an opinion when it's needed or if I feel it needs to be. And I'm going to give a kind of it's certainly out of the box because I'm not American, but I do have some very good friends who are from America. And I know that people who from the UK have gone over to America and can be involved in these elections as well. Let's look at what's happened over here in the United Kingdom over the last 12 months or so. 12 months. And of how a political party was doing well, a government, and then various different things have happened. They don't do well, but the opposition start to do well in the polls because of what has gone on with that government. Not necessarily to do with any policies or anything like that. It's just because people are dissatisfied with what is happening with the government. That would be truly fair to say. Now let's look at what's happening in America. I'm not going to take any kind of political view or stance as it stands at the moment as to who I personally think should or should not become the president of the United States in 2 years' time. There's a lot that we will all be having to go through before then. However, as it stands at the moment, you've got Joe Biden and the Democrats who are in power, but you've also got Donald Trump, and you've got the horrible events that took place in January 2021, which are absolutely disgusting. You've got potential legal action for the former president. You've got people in support of our freedom and all this kind of stuff. People saying that the election wasn't won by the Democrats and all this kind of thing. Regardless of thinking that, let's think what happened back in 2016 when Donald Trump did win the election, but how everything was put together before then. With attack from one party, with no policy, attack and policy from another. That person then got in. But then you have other people, regardless of whatever was happening during Trump's time, that was constantly on the attack, and rightly so in certain cases, but also in some cases in a disrespectful way by tearing up State of the Union address. I'm not giving an opinion, I'm just giving an observation as to what has gone on there. And of course, these primaries, people will be saying, you're going to vote for, will the Democrats do well? Will the Republicans do well? I remember back in 2016 saying, I'm glad I don't vote in these elections. It's a very difficult scenario what's going on in America as it stands at the moment. And again, I'm not going to give any kind of an opinion or anything like that, but let's just hope that in time and things in America can have the decent values of the country, and on either side of any arguments or debates or whatever gets sorted out in a peaceful way without any more riots and tensions and all this kind of stuff. As I say, a very, very difficult situation there. I'm going to end today by playing a few lines from one of a beautiful hymn here in, well, not just here in the United Kingdom, but it's been used around the world. Next Sunday marks Remembrance Sunday, and I'm not sure as yet when Shatliff On Sunday will be broadcast, whether I do it Sunday afternoon or whether or not I will do it on Saturday, because I normally like to stay away from political stuff on Remembrance Sunday, but we can still do something to pay tribute. This year on Remembrance Sunday, we think, of course, of the people of Ukraine. We hope for peace in Ukraine, and we hope for peace around our world without any shadow of a doubt whatsoever. And of course, we also think of our own loved ones who have given, who have served for their country, and ones who have given their lives during the war. My great uncle died in the First World War. Another great uncle died in the Second World War. Another great uncle was captured by the Germans and held in a prisoner of war camp in the Czech Republic. I will share more of these stories at another time. A very good morning to everybody.